What is going on, everyone? Nick from Common Culture here. Man, we have a special episode of Ink and Insights creator conversation style right here. Of course, we have Eric from 9 Panel Grid. Eric, what's going on, dude?
Dude, I'm doing great. I can't wait, man. I've been excited about this all day. I'm just pumped. I'm so freaking pumped.
I know, I am as well. Stu, Dr. Doom's fan club. How are you, man?
What's up, bros? I'm so excited as well. I echo the sentiments. I've been looking forward to this one for quite a while and this project, so I can't wait to talk with this man about it.
Oh yeah. Well, the guest of honor. Let's go ahead and get our introductions going, man. You know Ian Bertram from his amazing work with Darcy Van Polgees on the book of the year, in our opinion, for Precious Metal. Also, Little Bird for sure, setting up our first experience with that whole universe. House of Penance with Peter Tomasi, Bowery Boys, even an issue of Zero back in the day on Image Comics. Right now, he has an amazing Kickstarter we're going to learn more about here very, very soon. Let's go ahead and bring this man out right now. Mr. Ian Bertram, how are you doing, sir? How's your week been so far?
It's good, guys. How's everyone doing?
What's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
I like we have like a purple vibe up top, and then we have a nice like yellowy, off-white at the bottom.
Right. We do that on purpose. Yeah. There's a lot going on backstage to make these events like actually really, really special.
A lot of memos, a lot of back and forths. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of interior design work and everything. So yeah, absolutely. Dude, so happy to have you back on. We spoke to you a couple of months ago over at Pop Culture Philosophers talking with Darcy about Precious Metal and everything. Now you have this amazing Kickstarter out right now going over your sketchbook, Acheron. So we are so excited for this sketchbook. We've gotten a little taste of it back a couple of months ago as well. And we've been eating up all the news about it. So like, we got to get into this right now and talk about it. Link will be posted and pinned in the comment section. So if you guys haven't checked it out, you can go check out that link while we talk about it. But I'm really interested in like the origin of this thing. So there's a cool video on your Kickstarter that goes over how long you've been building this project or building this sketchbook in general. But like, how did that all start? How did it get mixed in with Tiny Onion? How did James help out essentially? Right? Like, can you take us back? How'd this all start?
Yeah. Oh man, how did it start? Okay, so very beginning is I remember I had a professor when I was at the School of Visual Arts who encouraged everyone to keep a sketchbook and essentially to have that just be a place where you could, you know, explore and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of people took that to heart. Obviously I did. And I think, you know, some people, it just didn't really, it just wasn't necessarily their thing. And he was cool. He was cool with that stuff. Anyway, so it just kind of got it in my head about sort of keeping a sketchbook as a place to like develop like a strangeness, right? Where it's like whatever, you know, as you're kind of like, especially in comics, you know, it's like you're very much in service of whatever stories you're telling. And, you know, you can do stylistic breaks if you want, but if they're not in service of the story, they always feel a little self-indulgent to me. And some people do them really well. But I think it was just like a great place to just sort of work through things that maybe comics couldn't address for me. And I had a lot of personal things, you know, issues, concerns, doubts, contemplate, you know, just like everyone, every human being does, you know, I think especially young people, just like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, like what is going on? Everything's like scary. You're angry all the time. You're just like, what? This is like, this feels bad. Now, obviously there's moments of joy, but there is also a lot of not that. And I think that it was just a really useful place to, without keeping like a diary where I'm like, well, today I dealt with this and I thought about these exact things, right? I just got to kind of free associate and stream of consciousness style, just draw into this book and have it just kind of exist as this like journal of some kind that I know what the language is, and that's kind of ever changing, you know. But yeah, I forget exactly what the whole question was, but it was sort of like how I started going about making the book, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I
making the
mean, like,
books. Yeah.
you see a lot of sketchbooks and you see like concept art, you see rough sketches. When I'm looking at your thumbnails and or what you've shared so far, these are like super elaborate, detailed, like comic quality and
Yeah.
beyond sketches. So like, are those things that you sit down and I can't imagine you're knocking out one of those in a sitting, right? Like, or maybe it's like an emotion or a place you want to go, and then you revisit that same mind, that headspace to finish it, or maybe it evolves over time. Like, is that
Yeah.
how that got built out, or?
It's a good, yeah, so, you know, I've, you know, in the past I've asked people like, hey, do you want to see my sketchbook? And then I show
Yeah.
them the sketchbook. They're like, this is not a sketchbook.
Yeah, right.
It's like, you know, they're
Yeah.
like,
It's like a
and
portfolio.
I'm aware,
almost. It's like,
aware that like showing people this book is kind of like a weird flex, because if someone shows you their sketchbook, it's going to be sketches, right? And these are exactly like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy detailed. You know, it's clearly taken me. By the way, I keep looking to the right because I have it right here, or one of them. Or
You're
actually,
just teasing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
get it.
I'm just like looking at it to kind of like be like, what?
If
what
only
are
you guys could
And-
see what I'm seeing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can go through it and I
Oh,
can show you some of the stuff on here as
Yeah,
well, which I think
sure.
is fun. But
crazy.
yeah, I think that I would just kind of start drawing a figure. You know, the sketchbook is called Acheron, and you know, Acheron is like the river between like the mortal realm and Hades. You know, it's essentially like the river of woe. You know, you get the ferryman kind of ferrying souls along the Acheron. It's also a real river in Greece, which someday I'd love to go to. But anyway, the conceit and I'll show you this for reference, but I loved the sort of use of just kind of like the above and below aspects, you know. Also, this is a bit of a not safe for work sketchbook.
That's fine.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
All right. Okay. So this sort of like this below part here, right? This is the river, and then above it, you know, we have the shore and sort of everything that's existing, you know, above that.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
This is the first one that I did, and I started right here on this guy, and I just kind of built it out, you know, from there.
Yeah.
And you know, this little sailboat guy just kind of ended up there, and I feel like it really kind of like cemented for me what elements I was using. Right, we got a lot of obviously flesh is not an element, right? But you know, we got Anyway, we got fleshiness. We have, you know, dirt, foliage, water, obviously. And just kind of playing with like a lot of primal instincts and themes. Even though it's not like I chose a theme and then went from there. It was more like just whatever was existing, you know, within me. It's very stream of consciousness.
Right.
I gotta ask, like, because they're so expansive, and I assume they probably took years to put together some of those spreads. When you go back and look at it in that journal-like sense, how do you feel emotionally? Like, because I know you gotta have, you know, personal memories tied into all that. Like, is it super weird to see, like, constantly, I guess now or more often, that it's part of this Kickstarter, like, kind of out in the world? Because I know it's got to be super personal.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that so I would bring this sketchbook, and when and I also have another sketchbook. So we're combining two into one for the Kickstarter. But I would bring these with me if I did Comic-Cons, and I didn't really do that many Comic-Cons. I very, very rarely, and would have 4-year breaks between any Comic-Con sometimes. But I would bring them, and so I had experience showing them to people, and kind of seeing how they would react. So it wasn't, it's not as if they're, so like precious in that sense. But it is, I think the weird part has been talking about it, where, I feel like it's like all kind of language, right? Where it's like language is like an approximation of a feeling, right? And it's like, if I could like bang my head against this computer until you understood exactly what I was trying to convey, that would be more useful, right? Than me just like putting words out into the world, right? So kind of figuring out what language feels as honest as possible to describe whatever these books are has been weirdly tricky. And hopefully it's useful. I wrote a, you'll see in the when we print the book, but I wrote an intro, and I'm like weirdly kind of excited about the intro, because I basically essentially just wrote it like I do in the sketchbooks, right? I wrote it stream of consciousness, with pencil and pen, and then like hand wrote it, and then whatever I didn't like, I would go back and white out and then write on top, and so we're just going to print it like that, like kind of like just as like an object, which I feel like, I was going to type it out. I was just like, this is not like the best way is for me and for the book is this process. So I feel like that was pretty useful. I think that the fun parts showing this book to people have been when I like see where maybe something went a little too far for them, and they'll like just like they're like, oh, okay, like really flip past it really quickly. And I will say that I've certainly shown either the physical book or in the Dropbox, like if I don't have the book on me and I'm talking with some people and it comes up, right? I've certainly shown it to 1 or 2 people who were it was the end of our conversation.
Really?
Because I think well, I mean they weren't artists. I don't really want to say the context. But like they weren't artists, and they were trying to relate to me as a person, and I think I forget sometimes that certain things that I draw are disturbing to people who are not encouraged by that work or gravitate towards artwork like that. So that's been interesting. But Stu, does that answer your?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Also, you guys, please, like, I'll ramble, so you can rein me in.
Oh no, I stare at their 2 faces all the time, and they stare at mine. So yeah, you can talk as much as you want to about. We're used to each other. What's funny about, like you were saying about like the people maybe turned off, which is interesting because all of us have mixed emotions. We have dark sides, we have light sides, we have things that come up in our life, and we have opinions that we have momentarily that are insane compared to how we normally feel and think, right? But some of us don't have that creative outlet to translate that and put it on page to capture that moment in time, and so I think it's interesting if people turn away. Maybe it's because they just don't have that outlet and can't relate to it and don't know how to represent those weird feelings at that moment. You know what I mean? And folks like yourself, you're doing your best to do that, and a hell of a job doing it. And that is a little shocking to people. Maybe they don't have that same outlet. I think that's an interesting concept to think about.
Yeah, I think that it's probably something that whatever shocked them held psychic weight for them in a way that they didn't realize until they saw it. And then they were like, oh, this is not in line with the person that I am in this situation right now,
Right,
while
right,
witnessing, while viewing this book.
They were too sober to turn the page and witness whatever they witnessed.
Yeah. No, and the thing is,
That's
is
funny.
like I've loved. I think even people who maybe flip past something too quickly, and it was a person who I was talking about who was just kind of like, I think we're kind of done here with
Sure.
conversation.
Yeah.
No, not in this context. I was mentioning I'd showed this sketchbook to someone and they were like, oh, I don't know how to talk to you anymore.
Right.
Like even that person, like I will say that people do realize the vulnerability involved in a lot of the drawings and in a lot of the sort of weirdness and kind of like the psychic burden of a lot of the stuff that I'm working through in here. And everyone is incredibly kind, which is really cool, because I think that I don't think you'd have to be. And I think I've been very fortunate in that the people that do gravitate to the sketchbook work and my work in general, which is pretty strange, and I think pretty obsessive, and I think it's pretty clear that I'm dealing with a few things, and everyone is really great with that. I was looking through Kickstarter because just like look at campaigns and all this stuff, and one of the campaigns that I saw that was like funded and doing really well was this essentially like a campaign where someone was doing just drawings of different types of mental health, like either diagnoses or issues, and I just remember thinking like, that is so cool and weird, like and also very much of a time and place, right? The idea of being able to present something like that and have enough people not be like, oh, actually, like that's disgusting, like, and enough people be like, oh, I actually identify with this and I'm willing to pay you money so that you can draw these things that, no one's ever been paid explicitly to draw their, whatever. I wish I knew whether it was like psychiatric diagnoses or if it was just mental health observations, but still, it's just such a strange time in the world. It's very cool in that sense, where through crowdfunding you can get a bunch of people to essentially vote with their wallet in whatever way that they think is most in line. Like the Kickstarters are like reflections of the people who support the books as well. Like, it's there's such a litmus. All right, I never know whether it's litmus or litmus.
Litmus,
but
I believe.
Litmus. Yeah.
That sounds right.
No. Take it to the chat. Somebody
we'll
fact check
take
us in the chat.
We'll take it to the chat.
Speaking of the chat, if you guys have any questions, and if you don't mind, if people have questions, we'd love to throw them at you. So if you have questions about the Kickstarter or for you in general, we'd love to take them in the chat. We'll pop them up and do that. So throw them in the chat, guys. Yeah. And thanks for everyone who's joining us to talk about this.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, who's ever in the chat, who's ever listening. Yeah, and if you want to, if anyone wants to ask any questions, whatever you want to know, I'll do my best to answer it the best I can.
Well, one of the things I'm thinking about, based on some of the stuff you were talking about when you were showing the book to other people too, is maybe what the context was. Because when I think of your arts, I think of it in basically like kind of living in two realms, right? Like, and I think only a couple artists can really do this successfully, but it like straddles the line between comic book art and fine art. I think when I think of like Bill Sienkiewicz, I think of the same way, right? Where it can live on a comic page, but it could equally live on a gallery wall, and like no one would be any the wiser that they exist in other platforms. I guess I make like when it's presented, like how do you see it? Like, do you see the sketchbook as more of a fine art type of thing or a more comic related type of thing?
And feel free to be as pretentious as you want to be. You're not going to be judged. This is a safe place. My stuff is always fine art. Like I want the, go ahead.
That's very funny. Again, like trying to be, I guess, the most honest. I mean, I don't really consider it either one. There's clearly comic influences You know, I don't know. I feel like with fine art stuff, like in my mind, it's almost made expressly to be seen in a gallery, right? When someone's making it, like, and that, you know, I mean, that's a bad, outdated definition. I'm not sure, but that's
It's a
kind
good
of
place
how,
to start, though. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
for
mean,
the
you know,
masses, or yeah, in
something
that way.
to be like seen while people are like, you know, sort of gathering around to speak about the work, and certainly there's a pretension with fine art stuff. I mean, it's baked in. Like, you can't get people to spend all that. You know, you can't get someone to spend $1 million on a painting unless you're going to be pretty pretentious about it. It's part of it. They all know that. It's my favorite thing with fine art is it's like no one says the thing, but the thing is that it's just money laundering. It's like no one will say it. Like, if you go to galleries, you know.
Yeah, the entire season of Daredevil is predicated on that, right? Like money laundering.
I've never seen
Oh well,
Daredevil. I should watch it. I just refuse to get fucking Disney. Anyway,
understood.
So yeah, it's a good question. I wonder. I'll think about it. I don't think about it as either. It certainly has narrative aspects to it. I don't know.
Well, I think that's arguably a better answer than given the two options that I gave, right? Because I think that is the happy medium, is that it's neither one of them, but it could be all of them put together at the same time.
I mean, I feel like it's very sweet of you to say. I feel like my answer is like slightly more annoying, you know, where I'm like, I need to like kind of like, I'm like, well, I got to define what my terms are, you know, first. It's like, in answer to whether it is fine art or comic artwork, I feel like those things are so often like kind of pitted against each other in how we discuss comics. Like, fine art doesn't care about comics; they never talk about comics, right? But comics will talk about fine art because we feel like we're those sort of like redheaded stepchild of, you know, this like massive, you know, industry, and we're like, well, why do they get all this stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like that. You know, I feel like one of the things that's really fascinating about comics is that like it just always keeps it. It will. Well, you never say always, I guess, but it has a like velocity to it, I feel like, and a passion in it that I think that a lot of fine artwork lacks. And I think that some fine artwork certainly. As a sculptor, Nick Cave, who I love, who has this. I just saw that he did like these crazy like life-sized suits, like where he would like tie all these strings together and make these like beautiful weird like creatures.
Cool.
Yeah, his work's great. The only reason I bring him up, I literally just saw like a sculpture that he did not in person, but like an Instagram post about it or whatever. It just was so cool.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
Good.
I got to think about it.
Yeah,
I might have an answer by the end of this.
And it is whatever it is, right? Whatever it ends up being is it. I think you're talking to 3 big fans of your work, so to us, it's like it straddles that line of like, this is elevated. Whatever it is, it's elevated, right? It's not something that we're used to seeing in a monthly comic book. You know, we said that about some of the work you've been putting out lately. It's something different. It's something better, and it's something that we're not used to seeing. So, what do you do with that? If you have to, if we live in a black and white, we live in a world where we love putting things in categorizations, you know, and in pockets and categories and buckets. And it's like, it's awesome. So yeah, the compliment there is we don't know what to do with it, but we really enjoy it. And it's something special. So
thank you.
But that's the definition of it, I guess, right there.
Without a doubt.
So let me go ahead and pull this up because I want to kind of go over some of the elements of the Kickstarter. And I think this is going to spring up a couple of other conversations. We kind of talked about, you know, you developing the book over time, but how did it actually spin into like the Kickstarter realm? I know you talked about how crowdfunding is a great platform. You were kind of doing your market, you're doing your research, right? Like what was successful, what was out there. Tiny onions on this, man. How'd you get James on this? I know you guys are studio buddies, but what was that conversation like?
I mean, it was how did this start? I was at San Diego Comic-Con, and I brought my sketchbooks. It was the first San Diego that I'd done, which was the most recent one. And I'd shown the sketchbooks to just like a bunch of artists that I really liked, and I had been doing this thing where I would I did this at NYCC and then San Diego, and then the most recent NYCC as well, where I would just like put my book, like sketchbook, on the table, and while people were coming up to so I could sign stuff or whatever, just kind of talk with them about the book, and they could flip through it. And it's such a fun thing because people are like, wait, really? Like I can like look through this object? And it's like just a fun, really cool interaction. And I remember talking with Sanford Green, and he was just like, why are you not, like, I don't know why. He was kind of gruff about it. I love Sanford, like in the best way. He was like, why are you not doing something with this? Like in a way that the way he asked, I was like, such a great question. Like, I was like, yeah, like I could do so. Like I'm at a point in my career and sort of where I'm at with the people that I know in comics and publishing, where like I could actually do this, as opposed to when I was really considering doing it, which was before I could. Like I remember posting on Instagram, like, I don't know, 6 years ago, and being like, hey, I'd love to make this into a thing. Like, would anyone be interested? And everyone was like, yeah, absolutely. And that was when I really wanted to make it, and I just had no ability to. And then like talking with Sanford, I was like, oh, I have wanted to put this out there, or have thought about it enough now that I can, and I can actually do it. And I'm like really excited by that idea. So I just reached out to James, and I think he sent the work to Courtney Menard, who is our like designer and just extraordinaire when it comes to like putting together like objects, and all the like you see on the screen, like Acheron. Like she had this great idea. She's like, yeah, actually this line through the O in Acheron is actually like the Greek symbol for, I believe it's theta, which is like the symbol for death or something like that.
Oh, perfect.
And it's just like cool.
That's awesome.
Like no one would ever know that, but maybe it's just so fitting with the book, right? Where it's this like subconscious thing where, like languages get passed down. It has an association of some kind, right? And they were just just everyone at Tiny Onion has
they did a great job on that video too. I just love how like candid real that felt. It was simple, but I thought so effective. I thought that was a really great video for
it was great. We shot it for like 2 hours in my studio, and they asked me so many different questions, and I knew it was only going to be like a minute long. Man, they did a great job. I love that they started out with like not me talking, and it's just the sound of like the paper. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a vibe. Like this feels good.
It grabs your attention. Also,
dude, it is so weird. You guys are on video a lot, and I feel like you must have like watched your videos back to see what you like. I've heard podcasts with myself or like listened to an interview, but like seeing myself on camera, and especially talking about this type of work, it really felt like watching my fucking like innie from fucking Severance like do something. Like I was just like, who the fuck is this guy? And why is he talking about my
It's straight up horrifying. Yeah,
it's horrible every time. Even years into it, it's horrible every single time.
What the fuck? Like it's it feels demonic.
If you get used to it, something's wrong with you. I think that's the lesson there.
My kids are going to watch these videos like years later down the line and be like, what was he doing? Like what is even going on?
I mean, that'll be cool. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like as a kid, like watching sort of like your dad, like sort of that I feel like is cool. You watching yourself, if you're watching yourself, and you're like, this awesome guy, like that would be weird, some people do. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, the video was really cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
They did great work.
I know you have your stretch goals. First off, the thing was funded in like what, 4 hours, 5 hours? What was that? Whatever. That was
I
awesome.
think it was a little less than 5 hours. Yeah.
Thank you for
it was awesome.
Yeah.
I was really nervous. I got to be honest. It's my first Kickstarter, and I spoke with you guys about it, and and you guys were all very sweet and very encouraging, and a bunch of other people reached out and were really encouraging. But you never know, and it went really well. So I was really happy with that, because now it's just we get to do cool things to the book, which is make the book better for everyone, which is cool. So
yeah, I wanted to get into that because shortly after it was successful, you unleashed the stretch goals, right? And so everybody loves a good stretch goal. We're closing in on the $30,000 one, which is insane, right? So
it is insane.
Yeah. Cool. So that's really great. We have our resident expert bookmaker right here, Simpleton, saying, "Let's talk new stretch goals. Letterpress printed book plate. Wink, wink." He, if you don't know Simpleton DC, definitely follow him on Instagram. He takes single issues and puts them into custom-made hardcover collected editions.
I know his work. He's awesome.
You know his work. Awesome.
He's a craftsman. Yeah, absolutely.
It's really cool to see. Yeah, I've seen.
Truly is. I know Ram gave him a shout out on something he put together for them recently. That's incredible work. So you have a lot of people that are anxiously trying to like figure out the next ones and using de-blur tools to try to figure things. So to no avail.
It's you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as if the cork boards weren't enough for precious metal. He's doing this now.
Me. This is about you. So but we're all really excited to see what might be coming down the way. So we're very close to that 30. So that's really cool news right there. The watercolor paper. Do you know? Can you expand on that a little bit? Or I know like the quality of the book itself versus some of the upgrades and whatnot. What does that feel like? What's that look like?
I'm still stuck on some people have been trying to use the blur tool. Like Jake and just you are doing it.
This isn't live, so we're good.
So funny. Oh man, I love that. God, I forgot. The watercolor paper.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we definitely talked about a few different types of paper, but I really, really wanted it to be on the paper that the sketchbook is on. So Courtney, who's incredible, sent me like, I don't know, I mean, she sent me like maybe 6 different six different printers sent samples to me. So I had, I don't know, one of them sent me an entire book. So there's like a lot of different paper that I got to sort of feel and compare to the sketchbook paper. But this paper is as close to the sketchbook paper as possible. It's really nice. So it'll just be printed on that. And then like, in my mind, it's like at some point, if someone wanted me to do like some this is not a stretch goal and not one that I've literally ever thought about until right this moment, but just like thinking about like, just like doing remarks on watercolor paper is so much more satisfying than doing, like going back in and like adding stuff so I might do that at some point, but not that's not one of the stretch goals. And I think I've felt pretty, aside from the stress of making the 15K goal, it's been pretty easy because Tiny Onion has just handled all of the stuff that I don't want to do, which is putting together. They were like, okay, we're gonna bring a video crew to your studio, and they shot a video. The video crew did that. Tiny Onion made the entire Kickstarter. They are reaching out to me. It's basically like me being like yes or no for a lot of the stuff.
Right.
Obviously, with the construction of the book, Courtney and I worked much more hand in hand, but she's killer. I mean, I very, very little input on my part. It was just like every time it was just like, oh, this looks great. So
cool.
I just heard James in a podcast talk about going and planning that book he's got coming out with Michael Walsh, and just taking the whole Tiny Onion team out there and planning it over the weekend. It sounds like they really got their
Yeah.
ducks in a row over there as far as
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
rollout and
James
marketing and
James is an
yeah.
institution. I mean, he's becoming
Facts.
he's a he's a juggernaut. It's really cool. And also the thing about James, which I really love, is like he really, and I think I think a lot of people in comics do it because it's such a strange industry, but like he really brings people with him. You know, sort of, he's been going through the stratosphere over the past, I don't know, 10,
10
5,
years.
10 years or
Yeah.
whatever.
His transformation,
Yeah.
but like coming off of Batman, his transformation to like really a leader
Wild.
in this industry has been incredible. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also just has like a leader quality to him, like he's tall. His voice is deep. He talks like he talks loud. You know what I mean? Like it's not too loud. It's not crazy, but like it has like he's got a commanding aspect to him that, in a good way, not,
Mhm.
it never feels, too much, but it's like just a good
Yeah.
vibe, and someone who I feel very comfortable putting my work in his hands, and especially the
Absolutely.
team that he has is incredible. So just feels easy on my end.
How long have you guys been in the studio together with you, Tinian, and for those of you guys that don't know, you're in the studio with James and Trad Moore. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. That's like back in the day with Frank Miller and Sienkiewicz sharing space together. So I'm curious, like, are you guys like all friends together, or do you have one friendship that goes back farther than the other? Or?
I mean, Trad and I have been friends for a long time. A long time. I don't know, more than a decade. And James and Trad have also been friends for a long time. And then James and I think, I don't know, became friends, started becoming friends like maybe like 6-7 years ago. And then like just kind of became better friends. And then we moved into this studio like 3 years ago. Or this was James's studio, and then he asked Trad and I if we wanted to join him in the studio, and we were like, "Yeah, it sounds incredible." So, so we're all in this
Awesome.
nice space. It's great. It's really cool.
So cool.
Yeah. Do you ever ink something on Trad's board without him noticing, and then he comes back and he's like, "What is? I didn't touch your thing, man. I don't know." It's like eating someone's sandwich and then walking away, taking a bite out of it. You know what I mean? In the office or something.
It's dangerous warfare to start. I've seen him ink. He's brutal. I don't want him. He would ink so much faster than me, I think.
That's hilarious.
No, but we have certainly talked about like trading pencils back and forth.
Yeah.
And just seeing what the other one comes up with.
I would love to see you two together. That would be wicked, man.
It'd be cool, right? Yeah. Man.
Right.
I mean, you know what the crazy thing too is, like, our pencils weirdly have a lot of similarities in them.
Yes.
Where it's like
they do.
The characterization, the things that we really love to like push and pull in people, I feel like are like have a similarity. And then when it and content wise, there's a lot of like sort of interests, I think, that are similar. And so but then in the inking is so much different, that it becomes very, very different. But I would be very curious if he was to ink my work and vice versa, like how apparent it would be whose work is whose. I think it would probably be clear, but I am curious.
I think there's that exercise where you take a piece of paper, and you probably know about this one, but somebody draws like an upper half, right, of like a body or something like that, and you fold it down, and the other person knows they have a lower half assignment, but they know where it starts and stops on the sides, right? And then they unfold it at the end. I think some other creators were doing that and showing off some of their work at cons and whatnot. That'd be an interesting exercise. I always want people to do that. There's just no time at cons to worry about that kind of thing, but it's always a fun exercise to see what comes out of that,
Yeah, it is really cool. Yeah, I think it's called the Exquisite Corpse.
Yes.
Or that's how I've always referred to it. And I did. I'm pretty sure that I did one with Trad and James Heron.
Oh my God.
Oh, that'd be fun.
What?
I don't know where that thing is.
Mail it to me,
Alright.
please.
Well, we'll come.
Yeah,
and
right?
we'll come over and help you find it.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, James is unbelievable, dude. Oh my God. I went to school with James. I was 18 and I audited a class where I basically went in, and Joey Cavalieri was a teacher. Shout out Joey, he's amazing. And basically was like, hey, can I take your class for free? He was like, yeah, I mean, go nuts. So I just took the class, and James was in there, and I remember meeting James and being like, who's this? Is like tall buff guy. Like, this is weird. This is like an art school. Like, and then he like brought in his work, and I was like, God damn it. Like, it's so good. And it's been so good. I mean, so I was 18, he was probably 22, like or 21. Like, it's not like he was that much older, but his work was so like, it looked like his work from the jump. Oh, just incredible, like so much better than everyone else. It was unbelievable. And obviously, if you've met James, he's one of the sweetest people ever, like a very kind person, and was really encouraging of me. So yeah, he was great. He was great.
So you'd mentioned, like, we were joking around about you potentially, like, inking some of Trad's stuff on there. Adrian in the chat had a really good question here. It's what are the tools of the trade? What are the stuff what's the things that you're using on a regular basis? Like, what's your go-to? Is it a Micron 8? Is it a brush? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I got them. I'm at my desk, so I got them. I'll use like a 3H pencil. I don't even know what brand this is, but like a standard 3H pencil. It's kind of it's a little hard. I like to press a little hard into the page. And then I'll ink with just microns, like I usually use the what is this?
Oh, it's a 5. I was so close.
Yeah, 5. And but I'll use a 5. I'll use an 01. It depends on what it calls for. And then I'll use these Molotov markers for if I want to like do like a big area that's like all dark, like a big black area. These are great.
Just need coverage, right? Yeah.
And it's very matte too, like the finish. Like it looks very. It's very hard. There's not a lot of. Sorry, I'm just looking through the pages over here. There's not a lot of gloss or shine on it, which is really nice. So. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'll use these every once in a while if I want to get some. These are like Tombow pens, but they're these little like nib things. But they're like half brush, half nib, and they're really great if you want to get like a little bit of thickness. This is the.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's your brand.
Yeah, everyone add that to your Amazon cart.
Yeah.
They're great. They're great. Yeah, good question.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I know we have another one here from Rogue Collecting, one of our buddies. He's a big fan, of course. Is there any piece in the book that has a unique special story behind it? I'm sure they all do, but do any stand out to you?
Ooh, that's a really good
And if it's
question.
too private, I guess the answer
question.
could be yes, but you know what I mean?
No, I mean, I'm certainly yes. Let me flip through. I mean, this one is
This is killing me.
yeah. I mean, this is
take your time. It's just
this
Remember,
one-
13 years. Yeah.
this one here, which is like this weird like face where she's looking all these different directions. I remember drawing that. I'd gone to get an eye checkup for some reason. I forget why it was. And basically they told me that I have a like degenerative eye thing where there's like a chance in my lifetime that my retinas could detach. And then if they do, it's basically like there's a small percentage chance I could go blind, right? I'm not super worried about it.
Yeah.
I've always made it would kind of be funny. I don't know why. I just feel like it'd be funny. It'd be horrible. I would not be happy about it.
Sure.
But you live a full.
Maybe
life
ironic is the
as a
right
blind
word.
person, yeah.
Maybe ironic would be the more proper term for it.
Yes. Funny
Yeah.
is probably,
Yeah.
I mean, I could say it's funny, you know, because
Sure.
it would have happened
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
But if you, Nick, if you said it was funny, oh my God, I would
I'm not
come
gonna say
to
it's.
your
I'm not
home.
gonna say it's tragic as shit, man.
Some people have been saying it's funny. And let me tell you.
It's the same people that closed your book after
Yeah.
they saw the one. No.
Yeah, that one's a little, you know, I kind of dodged the question a little bit. There's not like that much emotional impact with that one for me, but that is a unique story.
Mhm.
Let me see, I got this other one in here.
It does speak to the journalistic aspect of the sketchbook, though, right? Because even if
Sure.
it was a mundane thing, you know, I went to the doctor that day, you can recall that memory just based on the picture that you drew, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
This one, so
Jeez.
Yep.
Come on. Wow.
so the hand, I like the hand.
Yeah.
This one I basically drew. I was on a beach with my partner Ina, and basically saw a woman who had just finished drowning, like essentially her body like washed up on the beach. And Ina is an emergency room doctor, and so she went over and like started doing CPR and all that stuff. And certainly not the first person I've seen die or have had. There's a lot of things, but it's horrible, right? It's a horrible thing to see, and her family was there. It's a really just a tragic series of events. Like they went there on a cruise. Like they have to take her body back on the cruise. Like it's really horrible.
Yeah, the implications of that. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, and just sort of witnessing, I don't know. I mean, maybe because I've seen stuff like that before. I don't know, but I'm usually pretty calm with like when things get crazy, and just kind of like watching how everyone reacted. Like one person, like Ina was like, "Hey, does she have asthma?" Which I'm not an emergency room doctor. That I guess that had something to do with possible airway stuff, right? Where it's like that would help.
Interventions change if based on patient history and things like that. Yeah.
Patient history. Were you a doctor? That sounds pretty.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
You are a doctor.
No, I was a
medical fact checker.
Yeah, critical care nurse. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So you know all about this, man. Yeah, this stuff it's a really nightmarish, hellish, weird thing, and people do weird things like this. Ina was like, does anyone know if she has asthma? And this woman came up, and this woman was like, I have asthma. And Ina's like, what? Like she's like, what? She's like, well,
it's not helpful.
Do you know if she has asthma? And the woman's like, I have asthma, and it's like,
forget it.
Excuse me? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Right? And it's like, in to be the most charitable to that woman, right? It's like she probably desperately wanted to help, right? Her mind, she just got hijacked by the intensity and horror of the moment, and was just like, I want to help, and just couldn't quite do what needed to be done in that moment. You know what I mean? Which is not say anything, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so this piece is just, there's a bunch of clouds in there and everything, and it's just like, it is this massive horror of this kind of weird creature just wandering past the beach. We have like a little black sun down here. And all these waves. We have some birds and stuff like that, and just kind of this like massive, unknowable, weird death god just kind of transforming the landscape as it moves through it. Is kind of it is what I have come to think of it as. When I was drawing it at the time, it just was that, right? I was just drawing it, but I wasn't thinking of it as, I wasn't verbalizing it to myself that way.
It's incredible that it works as therapy that way, though. You know what I mean? That you can
yeah.
you can create and like kind of exercise that trauma or put it out on the page in front of you. Like that's remarkable to me. I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, and it kind
It's
of
pretty useful a lot of
half
the time.
answers one of the questions that I had for you too, because like everything that we've seen from the book, right, it seems so incredibly intentional, right, and like thought out. Maybe not like the entire layout and design, but like it seems like something where you're sitting down and saying, okay, it's time to put this piece on paper now. Now, you said you did that piece on a beach, though. Is any of this like, I mean, are you ever just like on the couch watching a rerun of The Office and doing this? Or is this like, no, it's art time. This is Ian at the desk?
With this, so rarely am I watching anything, or like just kind of, it's all very intentional.
Okay.
I think that, you know, I don't work in these books like I work on comics. You know, with comics, like, you know, if I'm inking, like I'll watch a TV show. I'm watching Deadlock right now, which is great, by the way. Holy shit, it's really good. But with these books, you know, it's more like I feel like I'm called to work in them in some way, where it basically like I'll just kind of feel this nebulous, like this tightness, right? Or there's just this valve, right? It needs to be released in some way, and I'll just find myself getting a little short with myself, with my environment, you know, and it's just like, oh, you know what? I need to do something that is completely removed. I mean, it's not completely removed. It is still drawing and painting and stuff, but like removed from any concept of like work that is for a larger audience, you know, like, or for like things that will be seen at some point, you know,
Okay.
and so it just kind of, but no, yeah, weirdly, no. I mean, certainly I'm sure I've been working on these for a long time, so I'm sure that that's happened, but you know, a lot of them, you know, I would draw like in bars when I used to drink. Whenever Ina and I would like, if we went on like a trip or something, I would draw constantly. I just draw a lot, so it's just kind of always kind of there.
So like each page, you've been working on this thing for a while. So each page, I mean, I'm looking at some of these, and I'll let me pull something up real quick. So I'm looking at some of these images, and in my mind, these can't be pieces that you start and finish over a single time without starting something different. Like, are you revisiting these pages over the years and adding something, changing something, or are you kind of completing your thought per page and then moving on to a next one? Or maybe you have 3 or 4 going at the same time, but are you constantly, were these like a constant evolution over time, or were you not going to use that?
These are a completed thought type of, I like that expression a lot. Yeah, it is a completion of the image, and then I feel like I can move on to the next one. Certainly I will sometimes go back into an image once that thought has been, like the thought's been completed. I'll start drawing another one. Maybe I'll draw 5, and then I'll be like, you know what, something, when I look at, you know, I think specifically the one above, which I actually have here.
Oh, come on now. Here we go.
This I certainly went back into, because I actually have a scan of this when this guy was not in it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we just got it. This is all. So this is. Do you know those ballpoint pens where it's red, blue, and green?
Yes.
All in one pen, and you can just click.
The one you can
what
click
it is.
through? Yeah.
Oh my God, I love those.
Oh yeah.
They're so
That's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this part, I basically just went, like with him there, I basically just went back in and I don't know, it wasn't quite working. So I just whited out a bunch of stuff. I don't even remember what was there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's certainly a scan that I've seen.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I would say not huge periods of time, right? Like this image is probably 10 years old, maybe a little longer. And I have not like gone back into images that were 10 years old and updated them with like newer elements. But let's say, if I did something a year ago, I would be like, well, actually, I want to add something here, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
It kind of reminds me of like almost like a graffiti. Like in my mind, it was kind of like a graffiti culture almost, where it was like images can kind of build on each other over time, right? Like your art certainly has like a layer aspect to it. You know what I'm saying? So like I can't imagine trying to like figure out the complexities of your piping or tubing and your ancillary things. You know what I'm saying? Like the structures of your characters and then the things they're interacting with. To me, I can't imagine putting it down on a piece of paper and not having to revisit it or coming back and wanting to add another element or something like that. It feels like something you have a thought, you're going to put it down at a base level, and then over time just keep chipping away at it, keep adding new things to it as that emotion evolves, as you evolve or whatever, your perspective changes on that piece or something like that. There's so many things going on in these pages that it's just so hard to believe that it's just like one complete thought. You did it in a shorter amount of time. It feels like something you took years to complete each page.
Oh, thank you. I mean, they
take the compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly take a while. Yeah.
No question there. Just that's where it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have some more images here to show off as well. Just
man, looking over some of this stuff too, and one of the things that really draws me into your artwork is that there's all of the projects that I've had the pleasure of viewing of yours, they have this like mythological quality to them.
Yes.
There's always something, and some of them there's like a religious aspect, but I mean the title of this sketchbook, right, definitely draws deep on the Greek mythology. Is that an intentional choice? Do you feel like there is something that like kind of permeates with that kind of idea, or is that just something that inherently just comes out with your artwork?
I mean, I think that it probably has to do with the type of thinking that's involved in making my work. And I feel like it's probably more similar to the type of thinking that went into maybe making the Greek gods. What I mean by that is the unconscious aspects that go into making this work, where I'm not really thinking about why certain things are connected, feels very similar to when you read about the Greek gods. You're like, wait, what? They'll do a leap, sort of in logic, where you're like, well, is that symbolic of something? And they're like, no, we just did that. But that's what this god did, and it just kind of like has this maybe magical realism aspect to it, but the physicality of what the gods do and the sort of like brutality of them makes the magical realism like feel less magical and much more real, I think. And so I think that religious works in general, I think, kind of have that to them, where it's an unconscious expression in some way of truths, and then you apply maybe meaning to it or stories to it on top of that. But you could say that about any story or anything.
Yeah, sure.
But no, I think I certainly don't. I could know a lot more about Greek mythology, and it's a cool one. But yeah, I guess I don't think specifically about any of the Greek gods. Is that your question? I don't know. It feels like.
Yeah. No. I think it totally addressed the question at hand here for sure. Yeah, I like the fact that you talked about, like, it's almost like the mythological aspect of it being personified through the actions. So totally makes sense.
a better way to say that. Damn. Love that.
And
You
there's
keep
you.
drawing the pictures. I'll give you some words.
Yeah, goddamn. All right. Woo.
just draws more pictures, Monkey Boy. Get back down there. Yeah, there's certainly like
I
a
don't love
vibe.
that, Nick.
Yeah, inappropriate.
It's very inappropriate. Some people have been saying that it's pretty inappropriate.
I've heard that a lot too. Yeah, there's certainly a vibe that kind of theme brings up, a feel. Like, you don't have to be super knowledgeable in that, in those stories or anything like that to understand the messages behind it. And I think your artwork does a great job of portraying some of those vibes and feels. It has that quality to it, that Greekish kind of quality to it that people can resonate with pretty easily, and they can see some kind of iconic characterizations or scenes or settings or something like that, right? Something that's somewhat familiar because they've seen it in some work and it's interpreted in here a little bit differently. But yeah, to Eric's point, I think the message certainly gets across that there's some kind of symbology mixed in with your work for sure. So
yeah, I mean, I certainly have a lot of within it symbols that mean things to me, like different like shapes and languages with that are where like I know what those mean, but also like those are pretty, I mean, one of those is like the viscera, right? Like the intestines kind of like constantly throughout all my work, right? But that's not something that needs to be explained necessarily when you see it, right? You're like, oh, that, I feel like I know what that means, right? I feel like I know what that is trying to convey. There's like certain things, like we got a little sailboat in here, a lot of like use of those sort of like flowers that are like dripping with some sort of substance. That comes up a lot. But I really think it's very similar to just kind of the, like the Jungian, I mean, the collective unconscious. I mean, that's the archetypes, the things I'm pulling from, like they're not new, they're the fears and wants of old, and just kind of allowing myself to like, not in a, I mean, I'm kind of joking, but also I think it's kind of true. Just kind of like being a vessel, right? Where it's like, if you ask me to describe that moment of like, while I'm drawing, am I thinking about what I'm drawing? And the answer is no, right? And I think that's true for a lot of art in general, where it's like, the more you observe it, the more you're like, I'm not sure where this is coming from. I'm maybe it has more to do with free will, just kind of a boring conversation. I do love having that conversation. My partner knows about that. I love it, but it's so boring for anyone else. But the act of making the work is very, I don't know, subconscious.
Yeah.
Well, at the risk of sounding pretentious once again here, I would say like in my youth, I wanted to be an artist, and I was really, really good at recreating things that someone else had already done, right? Like I could knock out a picture that like Mark Bagley did, right, on another piece of paper. But when it came to my own ideas, I struggled so much. So like, I feel like great art really truly does, at least partially, if not fully, come from that subconscious. Like that's where originality kind of resides.
Yeah. I think that it's a really good point too, about like, there's definitely like a weird moment where like it goes from copying work to making your own, but I don't know when that is or how that even happens. Like there's certainly like a moment where you go from copying work to making your own, and you're like, oh my God, like my work is shit. Like it's so like, it's so bad in comparison to the work that you're just copying. And then you go back to copying for a little while, and then you kind of like it's like
I always think about
one step back type of thing.
Hunter S. Thompson used to like type out The Great Gatsby on a typewriter like once every summer, just to force it. He would rewrite the book himself just to try to like,
of course,
get Fitzgerald's prose like into his head. So
he was also on copious amounts of cocaine. So
Yeah, I remember reading Hell's Angels when I was like 17 and just being oh my God, I want to be this guy. This guy's the coolest. Like when he's talking about, he's like driving his motorcycle at night, and he's like, I'm just like about to swerve into the other lane, and I just
Yeah.
let like the chaos take hold, and it's just like, it sounds very cool. And then you continue doing that, and you continue doing it, and then when did he die? He's like in his 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The edge always gets further and further away as you keep pushing it further, you know?
And you get further and further away from any understandable human experience, to the point where you're just lost in the desert somewhere and people come visit you. Like, which, hey, I mean, like, whatever, that's certainly a way to live, for sure.
Yeah, but he became a victim of it. I think it was his own self branding and self image. I think it just all became too much for him.
Yeah, I heard another interview. I'm trying to remember who it was with, but they were touching on the same topic you were, where it's not so much of a active, I don't know, experience when you're trying to create something. It's like if you can kind of channel the creativity directly, it just kind of flows through you. You become the vessel for it, and it just appears all of a sudden. Like whatever you're creating, you could be doing a talk, you could be doing artwork, you could be doing a painting, whatever it might be. You could be writing. But if you're part of the equation, sometimes it feels like, oh, I'm being really creative. But like the actual creativity, you're trying to harness it, and it's using you as a vessel to create. And like I can kind of see that happening here and with some of your work as well. And so when you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, that seems like something that people who can achieve that dialed inness, right? That focus level are trying to achieve. And that's like pure creativity, right? Just using yourself as a vessel for it, instead of like trying to make it happen. Like there's a difference between that. And I feel like you were touching on that a second ago.
Yeah. I don't even know if I don't know if I revere that. I don't know if I hold that in, I don't know if I like that idea. I think that is certainly what I was describing, but I don't know if, in terms of my enjoyment of being the, for lack of a better word, like the vessel of the creativity in that moment. Like, I don't know if that's something that I want to be the case, really. It's just kind of, if I actually think about having made the work, like, I'm not sure how much I was involved in the authorship. And that's kind of, I mean, you can go insane thinking about that, for sure.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
went insane
slippery
just trying to
slope.
describe it. Yeah.
No, it's almost, it's like impossible to put words to. I mean, again, like if we could just all press our foreheads together and just be like, that's what you meant. That's so much better than what you said. You know what I mean? That's like, that's how, specifically for me, I find a lot of the time I find that I'll like ramble for a while, and then I'll just like synthesize things into what I actually meant to say.
Right.
It's I don't know. It's fun. Thank you guys for letting me ramble. I still have time. We can keep talking for a second. I don't know. Do you guys have any like, I don't know, like weird, like extra crazy questions? I remember I just did an interview, not an interview. It kind of felt like an interview, but it was certainly not. I did a talk with a bunch of SVA students where they got to ask me questions, and a lot of them asked me like really like vulnerable, really tricky, difficult questions to answer, and they all came from a good place. You know what I mean? They weren't trying to like. They weren't like, oh, gotcha. They were like they're kind of nervous. They're at that like cusp of a new chapter in their lives. And, just trying to answer that stuff was really fun. And you've certainly asked me a handful so far, but
Well, something definitely did come to mind here, and because last time we got a chance to talk, you had been mentioning some of your influences as far as comic book related work, right? You said you had read Sin City at the age of 14. You got introduced to Jeff Darrow, and the influences are totally there. But like, what was little baby Ian drawing? Like, what was like when you had the crayon and you were just fisting that thing? Like, what was your first artistic influences? Like, even at the youngest of young ages.
I remember drawing. the youngest stuff, it's like, I don't think you're copying anything. I think copying is like a more, you've thought about it enough to want to improve on certain aspects, whatever that means, right? Or you've thought about it enough where you're like, I draw, but like the earliest stuff, I mean, probably just like every other kid, you know, you draw like a tree or something, you know, like whatever, you know, like it's like, oh, look, the sun, like, you know.
Yeah, but that's some gnarly roots, though. I bet you, yeah.
Honestly, I do. It's a really good question. I might see if I can try to dig any of those things out, and see if there's through lines with the work now. I'm sure there is. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, I remember as like a little kid loving Pokemon cards, right? And just like drawing all the Pokemon, like all these like very distinct creatures. All their shapes were really fun to draw. You know, they all felt really alive, you know, and I certainly had a lot of attachment to them. So I think I drew those a lot. And then after that, I remember someone gave me a like huge book of like all the X-Men characters and their power breakdowns and stuff like that. Just only drawing that after that for years. But yeah, it's good. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Who was one of the first artists who really blew you away? Whose work you were like, I gotta seek them out, and I need to see more of their stuff.
I guess there's probably different stages. I mean, like I remember seeing Jim Lee's work, and I remember there was a website that just had his inks on it. Like just page after page after page of every single like inked page. It wasn't him inking it, I guess, or there was different chapters. Like who Jim Lee and who
Scott Williams.
Scott
Williams, yeah. So it was them, you know, and that I was probably like 11, you know, and just being like, holy shit. I mean, like that stuff really appeals. There's an iconography that he uses. There's a strength in the characters. And it also is a style that where you feel like maybe you could do it as well a little bit, you know, where like someone made that great point about like Rob Liefeld's work where it's like, well, why was he so popular with kids? And it's like, well, it feels so close to what they could do in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, how does a kid think? It's like, well, I want to make this. It's like, this guy's strong. He's the biggest guy you've ever seen.
Biggest fucking thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, like pouches? Well, you're in luck.
yeah.
How about a gun?
Yeah. So yeah.
But a lot of those characters were broken down to like the basic shapes, right? It was almost like the how to draw comics the Marvel way approach, right? It's apropos to their, you know, styles.
100%. And I think a lot with that stuff too, it's like how people draw faces. I feel like just really, you know, we all gravitate towards faces. You know, how an artist will draw a face, like Lionel Yu, I remember also probably maybe 13, I don't know, just being like, this guy's amazing. Like the way he drew lips was so weird. Like it was just like, this guy's great. And then, you know, and then Miller seeing Sin City. That was, you know, a game changer in terms of, I guess, certainly content, but also style. And I think there's a sophistication, obviously, to his stuff that is still now. If I look at it now, I still can't believe how talented and how visionary he is. Right, like he's just unbelievable. Obviously,
have you seen the I have the curator's edition of Sin City right there behind. It's like, it's gigantic, and you can see his pencils on there still, and you can see when he was with that white out, you know what I mean, just like going to town, redesigning things. But yeah, you can see Frank's pencils on that stuff. It's an incredible book. Highly recommended if anybody doesn't have it. It's the curator's edition for Sin City. But yeah, to your point, man, he was a master architect. You know, when he was putting those pages together, he was making decisions that would make his life hell perspective wise.
Yeah.
But he did it because it was cool looking. You know, all those top down shots of the alleyway with the brick perspective changing and getting tighter from the top to the bottom, and then shadow work that would hit the corner of a room and go up, and it would be elongated because of the shadow work. It's like, you didn't have to do that, man. You did that because it made the page look great and it felt right. That's
So
so
true.
weird.
I mean, yeah, the way he uses space is incredible. I think I've only seen one of his pages in person once, and they're so huge.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's incredible. God, I got to get that book. That's the curator
The
edition.
curator's edition. Yeah.
Curator's
Yeah.
edition.
Yeah, for sure.
Imagine how awesome it's going to be the day when we're all holding in our hands the Little Bird Universe Artist Edition. That's going to be, what a glorious day that's going to be. Like, it's going to be really cool. I'm excited for that.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you guys have always been very supportive of all my work. I mean, obviously, and including the sketchbook stuff. It really does mean a lot. You know, I think that comics is such kind of as the people making it, it's so weirdly divorced from having the work. Like once the work is made, you know, we're already working on the next project, you know, and it's like it's so nice to like, I don't know, be supported. Darcy and I have talked about that a lot. And thank you for picking our book Precious Metal for the book of the year. That was very sweet. I absolutely watched it, and I was like,
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
like,
obvious choice.
We're getting high up there, and I haven't heard anything about Precious Metal. I'm really hoping we do well. So that was really nice. Thank you.
Speaking of Precious Metal, go to your LCS and find your trade paperback collected edition right now. Yeah. So
how does it feel now that we've got a couple months in between? Now that it's, you know, it's all said and done. Looking back on Precious Metal, how does it feel since like the last time we talked to you?
It feels really good to have the whole thing in my hands. I feel like the individual issues, you know, like that's how comics work. But I don't think that they held the weight of the book, you know, like the weight of the story that Darcy was trying to tell. I think that I think they were fine for conveying the images that I was trying to create if someone just wanted to look through and see some cool images.
Yeah.
But I think that having the trade and just being like, just letting the story wash over you in that medium, as opposed to like waiting and rereading and stuff like that. Like, I think being able to experience it in one sitting like this, I think would be really cool for a lot of people. Certainly rereading is just easier, and maybe, you know, but I think especially like new people picking it up, like, because I know a lot of people didn't pick up the individual issues because it's like, I mean, I don't buy individual issues. Like, you buy the trade. There's too many issues. You know what I mean? Like, that's not true. I will buy an issue every once in a while if it's like, if it's like a great comic. You know?
Yeah, we see the short boxes behind you.
Yeah, those are James's short boxes. I've actually never listened to that. Yeah. We have a nice little spinner rack over here too. We got some. What do we got? We got Electra Assassin talking about Sienkiewicz.
Beautiful.
You're in the right show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And answer your question, it feels really good, and it feels like that chapter is kind of closed and not in a over, but like in a, we've done that book. We've done book 2 of the Little Bird saga. Like it's fucking done. And it feels nice. So yeah.
It feels like a weight. That's what it feels like. This thing is hefty as shit.
When he showed us this backstage, he turned it sideways, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Like, here's the Little Bird hardcover, and then here's this one. It's actually like as thicker than Little Bird hardcover. So like, it's incredible. That's the first thing I thought when I held it. I was like, "Holy crap, man! It's gonna make me work out a little bit. This is great."
It is like 300 pages, 300 plus.
It is. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I recently, I was looking back at my trades on the wall, and I found the House of Penance as well. So like, I was just having a great time looking through this and just watching, or just witnessing like your evolution. And of course, like, you had other work as well. I actually found, what is it, Zero number 15 from Image Comics, I think you were a part of. Like, flipping through that was a trip, man. I was like, man, this guy has grown so much.
I drew that like entire issue in a week and a half.
That's hilarious.
On like paper, like this size.
That's
like,
funny.
Maybe a little bigger. Maybe like actual comic size. But thank you, man. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen. I don't like to look at older work,
Yeah.
but certainly it'll come up every once in a while, and it's cool to see the progression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bowery Boys too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think some of the interior work. I think you may have shared some responsibilities there, if I'm not mistaken, on the interiors there.
Yeah, at that end, I think I drew probably about 180, I want to say, pages of Bowery Boys, and then to complete the story, another artist was brought in.
Yeah,
But
Brent,
that was
Brent McKee, right? I think of Brent
Yeah.
McKee. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
That was a trip to flip through that too, and just again see that evolution. Things get a lot more complex, things get tighter, it's really fun to see those artists that you can witness some guys, and like the evolution is kind of hard to see in an untrained eye, and then some people are they're working through stuff and they're just maturing so fast, and it's just really, really fun to see that.
Thanks. I feel like I definitely feel like there's some styles that just sort of oh God, I'm blanking on his name. Criminal.
Sean Phillips.
Yeah, Sean Phillips. Yeah.
Because you're speaking Eric's language now. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I mean, it's just always bangers, and has always been, I guess. Like I haven't found his oldest work, obviously, but I mean, it just seems like he's been that good and has stayed that good for.
It's in his DNA, man. And now you see his son. It's like, good Lord, the whole family.
Right.
What's his son's name?
Jacob
Phillips.
Oh
yeah. Jacob. He's done incredible work already. Yeah. That Texas Blood.
Oh yeah, that was incredible too. I'm going to the chat real quick. Damien, Sleepy Reader 666 wants to know, does Ian work in paint? And have you dipping into that?
I mean, I've done huge paintings. I feel like the last time we all talked, I'd brought out some absurdly large page. This is even bigger.
It was spectrograph. I think you wrote on
spectrograph.
Yeah.
I want to see how far you have to back up.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Oh my God.
He's standing, ladies and gentlemen. What the hell?
I mean,
oh my God.
Jeez. Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. What size is that? It's hard to even
I mean, it's like, more than half of my body. So
right.
It's probably about, you know what? I have a ruler right here. It is, so that's 24 inches across.
That's like
26.
Yeah.
Probably by,
I
don't know, 40 something.
Yeah.
40 maybe. No, 36.
30. Yeah. Something like that. Jeez.
Yeah. But yeah, someday I'm going to do a comic in this style and all this size.
Wow.
This would be the cover.
You'd have to reduce that by like 80 something percent if you did a comic.
Yeah, I know.
What are you talking about? What's your normal size? What were you doing precious metal at? Wasn't it like 14 by 22 or something like that? Or what was that?
18 by 24.
18 by 24.
Well, it's drawn on 18 by 24 paper. So the actual art is a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
And for the next book that I'm doing with Darcy, I'm also drawn on 18 by 24, but the dimensions are even crazier. Here, let me show you.
Oh, here we go.
Well, no.
Oh, I hate you so much.
Sorry. On purpose.
I'm realizing I'm like imagining the conversation that I'm gonna have with Darcy later, where he's like,
he's fine.
You showed them the cover 3 from our new book. It's like, no.
He's a friend
without
of the
giving
show.
away too much. Like, how is that project?
Darcy, friend of the show.
Yeah.
He's a friend of the show.
He's a friend of the show. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
But no, the cut here. I'll show you the back of the paper so you can see how big it is. But this is how big I'm drawing the.
Yeah, hold it up to that light. Turn that light on and hold it up to it. And then,
There you go.
Should I turn it around too? Yeah. Hold it up to that light.
Somebody screen grab it.
But yeah, in answer to the question, I certainly do painting, and I have for a long time. I have paintings that are even bigger than that. I mean, I have a. How much time do you guys have? You want to see like a crazy big painting?
Hey, I'll go as far as long as you want. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have
my
the biggest rolled up
Oh
thing I've
my
ever seen.
God.
I'm gonna have to
It's-
That's a
unwrap.
box
throw
tape.
rug.
It is a
It's
throw
like
rug.
Sorry to make you break the. Wow.
Nah, this is good.
Okay.
Oh, good lord. Oh,
Wow.
That's awesome.
dude.
Okay, that's way taller than you, right?
Yeah,
And-
this is huge. But yeah, I love doing big paintings, and I do them a lot, for myself.
Incredible.
And I don't know, I have a bunch of these huge ones. But this is like, it's like a weird figure. It's probably hard to tell. Like, this is the belly button here.
Right. Yep.
We have like the leg and all that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Jeez.
Dude, just do us a favor and promise that you're not gonna wait until Sanford Green guilts you into like releasing this stuff as a Kickstarter, because I'm ready for book number 2 already.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, that would be cool. Yeah, I feel like to do like a giant art book of all my paintings and stuff someday for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really incredible though.
Nice.
So I do know your Kickstarter is still active, obviously, right now. We have plenty of time left. It backed very, very, very quickly. I know some people in the chat were watching and jumped over to the Kickstarter to help pledge towards it and everything. But just to kind of give people an idea of the only, I think it's the only 2 remaining options at this point. There was an early bird special that a ton of people jumped on, hundreds of people jumped on that really quick. So thanks for doing that. First off, if you had any kind of input for that, it really gets things moving for people, and it was a no-brainer for a lot, and the price point is like perfect. So thanks again for that as well. Sometimes these things get crazy, and these are awesome. But I think these are the 2 left right now. It's like the standard edition is 40, and it's the 60 pages. It's everything, right? The stretch goals get included in all that. So anything we need, gets thrown into it. And then you have the print set as well with the 3 prints. 24-inch, 9x24. Is that 9x24 like your actual sketchbook size that you have, or approximately?
Yeah, I mean, sketchbook size is 8.5 by like 11.75. So it's,
okay, so we got a little blow up. Awesome.
It's like slightly bigger. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, no, the price point, for the sketchbook, and it was really cool because the Tiny Onion people and I were pretty aligned on like wanting to do a Kickstarter where we could just print the most beautiful version of this book possible. And they suggested $40, and I was like, is that low? Like, will we be able to cover everything? And they're like, yeah, that's possible? Like, we're like, yeah. It's like exactly how much we need to cover it. I mean, obviously, I think there's like, there's one section again, like if you're like a retailer, I think if you want to like,
you can get like 5 copies for
something like that. But yeah, and thanks everyone for the early support. And then we have 2 more of the reveals. I don't know what they're called. I'm still learning the language.
The stretch goals, you mean?
Stretch goals. Yeah, I keep thinking of them as tiers, but they're not tiers. They're stretch goals, which I guess is clearly different. But yeah, so we got some more of that, and then we might be offering like more sketches because the sketches, I mean, they went really quickly, which is really awesome. I mean,
don't do this to me. Don't do it to me.
No, please do it, Ian.
We're offering 1 sketch.
One more.
A fight to the death.
Yeah,
the Highlander tier.
Yeah, the Highlander.
We talked about
full circle.
Yeah, we did it.
We did it. It took an hour and a half, but we did it. Yeah.
But I think I'm sorry, Nick, but I think we probably will offer a few more sketches, just because it's fun and it gets more people excited, and I don't know. It's like we met the goal, so now it's just gravy, right? It's like hopefully
you get to play now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can have fun with it.
I mean, like adding the inside back pocket cover, like that's so cool. That's what the Moleskines have. They all have a little back pocket cover. That was Courtney's suggestion. was like, oh, that's great. Like, you know, and it's like, I don't know, it's cool. And then like, I was about to say maybe what one of the other ones were, but there's other stuff that's cool. There's other stuff that's cool.
That was Stu's idea to bring this back up so you can try to slip up on us and give us actual.
Yeah.
You can blame
I'm
Stu.
being such a tease over here. Holy shit.
Well, but you had mentioned also that, you know, you don't do the con circuit incredibly, like, you know, you're not hitting every single con every single year. This is an incredible opportunity for people to get sketches of your work that wouldn't necessarily have that opportunity. So like, yeah, if more get opened up, like people got to jump on that.
Dude, that's a great point. Eric, I have to write my copy.
You need to pay him.
It's like synthesizing my fucking talking about the Greeks to this. Yeah, this is great. No, it is a good point. I guess I didn't think about it like that. But yeah, if people can't come to the con to get things sketched in, like, I mean, this is a good way to do it. And yeah.
I know.
So, it's my way of coping with the fact that you're not going to be at Heroes this year. It's just like, all right, it's okay.
It's
at the end
okay.
of the day.
Our
it's
best
okay.
friend Treadmore will be there, so it doesn't matter. We'll be okay.
He will be. I will tell him. I'll tell him to come find you guys. I might try to go next year. It's such a great show. I went once, like maybe 6-7 years ago, and I had a blast. Yeah, it's just such a fun, like, everyone's just hanging out. You just wander up, talk to anyone you want. Like,
oh, it's great.
People are very inclusive there. It's really nice.
Yeah. I know we got a lot of love in the chat. Obviously, thank you for offering an undoubtedly phenomenal book.
Hey, what up, Ian? I know. So Ian is an amazing artist. Do you know Ian's work? Yeah, dude, phenomenal. And I used to work at an art collective and like used to draw comics at this art collective and met Ian through that. And yeah, man, he's awesome. He's also like a very cool human being.
Oh yeah,
it's a great combo.
That's so dope.
Yeah, it is good. It's a good combo.
We got Rogue agreeing, obviously. Great price, great deal. Everyone's, you know, flipping out about some of the stuff that you were sharing and everything. Yeah.
Oh, cool. These are the
comment. Yeah, Sleepy Reader. He ran off to the Kickstarter to go support it. So that's awesome. Yeah, Adrian loving the fact that you have some of the stuff that he's
Stadler pencil. Yeah, you got me. It is a fucking Stadler.
It's important.
Yeah, Adrian would know. Let me scoot you up. Sorry, I'm gonna flip you up. So
no, it's all right.
You get the bottom there. I cover you.
Yeah. Cover me up with the comments.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, talking about hitting those stretch goals for sure. Rogue was also wondering about your favorite artist. I think we touched on that a little bit as well.
All time and one's working days. I mean, I think my favorite artist of all time is Mobius. I mean, I remember seeing his work, and it's like that's certainly, and coming back to your question too, Stu, it's like time and place and different moments, but that one really, like, it's like being in the Sistine Chapel. It's like someone hands you that, and it's just like a human being did this. Like it's so ethereal and phenomenal. And then favorite artist working right now, I mean, Trav Moore is my homie, one of my best friends in the world, and his work is just incredible. And James Heron I'm a huge fan of his, and he's been a good friend for a long time. And there's a bunch of other people, but frankly, it's like most of Felix's art crew.
They got a great sense though, right? So they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like curating like the best people out there.
It's wild.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
I know, Ian, before kept coming back around, can't wait for the sketchbook and excited to get the precious metal trade. Yeah. Again, that should be hitting your LCSs tomorrow. And then I think it's online. It's online. I think it's a May release online at like Barnes and Noble and Amazon and things like that. But your LCS will probably have it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I knew the stores would have it. I didn't realize about it. I hope people pick it up. It's a cool it's a cool looking book. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What is it? What was Sybil's name? Trying to figure out what piece of me I'm going to have to sell. I was supposed to get a copy or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious. Let's see. Yeah.
Kidneys are
personal.
overrated, so
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Well, man, thank you so much for your time and everything. And it's
Thank
been
you.
such a fun experience talking to you multiple times now about things that, you're very passionate about and you put so much hard work into. And you say it's fun to hear people talk about your work after the fact. And it's kind of, either it's invigorating or it gives you some kind of validation or something like that. But just know that, you have a lot of fans out there that really, really enjoy what you're doing and the work that you're doing with other people as well. We're just really proud of everything you've been able to put out and everything. And it's just been so much fun talking to you about all this work.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. It's very sweet. And let's do it again. I'm around.
Absolutely.
You let me know. But
yeah, any projects you have
man.
coming out or anything like that you want to share anything on where not really into the con circuit at the moment, but is there any projects you want to plug outside of the Kickstarter one, or is it a little bit too early to talk about those kinds of things?
I think probably a little too early, but dude,
Sure.
I mean, as soon as we can, I'll be showing the work, and if you guys want to do another one of these, let's make it happen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When you and Darcy sharpen up a little bit, we'll definitely have to talk to you guys again and see what you guys are up to.
Or if you ever just want to sell some art and just unfurl paintings for a couple hours, we're here for that too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can do that. Yeah, man, that was fun. This has literally
dude.
been wrapped up in my studio for 3 years now. So makes me want
We can
to
curate that gallery all day, bro. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We don't even have to hit the live button. We could just sit here and just with our mouths open and you can just show off. Eric, any final thoughts for you, buddy?
Nah, man, just thank you so much for, this incredible book that's going to be coming out, for spending some time with us, man, and kind of opening up about all the stuff we talked about today. So, man, you've been incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Stu, final thoughts?
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much for making time for us and hanging with us. You're one of the very best doing it, man. So getting to talk with you and pick your brain and spend time with you is always an honor. So thanks again.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And we got Adrian kind of closing out with the best comment right here. Great show. Absolutely one of my favorite artists. Constantly in all of your work. Great distraction for the Leafs losing tonight. So we're glad we can help you out there, Adrian, for sure.
There you go, bro.
So I do know that you have not only the precious metal trade coming out tomorrow. We've mentioned that, but you also have, I think, final order cutoff for Absolute Martian Manhunter #3, the cover that you did for that one. I think hits FOC this coming rotation, right? This coming Monday.
Book?
Oh my god,
it's really good.
What?
It's really good.
So good.
So good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't believe. I mean, it's the best superhero thing I've seen in.
Yeah.
I don't even know how long. Incredible.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Blew my mind.
Yep.
Same.
So
Yeah.
FOC for that's hitting. FOC is
shit.
hitting for that. As if you needed another reason to buy that book. We have an amazing variant cover from Ian as well on that one. So make sure to check that out in your LCS. But Ian, man, thank you again so much. We really, really do appreciate your time, buddy.
My pleasure. You guys are great. Thank you. I really
All right.
appreciate it.
Take it easy, guys.
Have a good
Thanks
one.
for coming in and hanging out with us.